What's going on, everybody? This is Steve from AltCoin Buzz, and I'm coming at you tonight giving you some good news, which many of you may have already heard. It looks like not only is the market mostly in a sea of green, save for a few that are still on the mend. Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, still trying to chip away and get back to their previous 24-hour volume, but it does feel good after spending most of the weekend underwater below the $300 billion mark. Now we've crossed above that and we're back to about 312 billion total market cap. So it is good to be in the market again, depending on when you got in, of course. But it seems that some of this, and this is recent activity. If we dive in, we can see that this is just in the past hour or so that there's been any sort of movement upwards here in this trend. So this is supposedly some of the news that is spurring the interest and driving some of the upward momentum back into cryptocurrency. So this coming week, the G20 is set to meet in Argentina, and there was a lot of skepticism about what their outcome and outlook would be for these nations, and cryptocurrency was definitely on the menu, but it was unsure of how it was going to be served. So they have apparently given some sort of lax question or lax concern about how cryptocurrency could be a threat. So you would think that they would come into it balls to the walls, really hardcore on trying to shut down cryptocurrencies, because there's been so many that claim that it's meant to replace fiat, that it provides stability and all these other anarchical things. If that's even a word, I may have just made that up, but you know what I mean. That people are trying to say, okay, let's get this, let's buck the system, we're going to do our own thing. So that could lead to a lot of defensive measures being taken by countries and different governmental organizations, and we have seen some cautious rulings from places like the SEC, CFTC, and other organizations like that. So it's good here that in the G20 they're looking at taking a little bit more of a relaxed stance. So the Financial Stability Board, which basically provides the guidance to these nations' leaders at the G20 summit, came out, and it depends on what headline you read. So you need to really look at his comment. I think some people have trimmed a few words off there, which is very common with media, to drive a sentiment in their own interest. And here's what, it's not even the full statement, but look, it says, the FSB, so the Financial Stability Board's initial assessment is that crypto assets do not pose risks to global financial stability at this time. So I've seen some headlines where they're not quoting the "at this time," and I've seen some where they do. And it's just important to keep those three words mean all the world in this type of quote. Yes, it's great that he doesn't feel that they provide a threat to the stability, because he may be looking at a market that's on a downturn and thinking like, oh, okay, this is just the way it's going to be. It's falling apart. It's crumbling. Or he may be looking at it and saying, oh, it's just not organized enough yet. So what I would caution to really anybody that looks at today is that the meta changes so fast in cryptocurrency, for better or worse. And if you've been in it for more than a few months, you've seen it work both ways. So if you were in this back in November, you saw a market capitalization of roughly what we're seeing today. And then if you were weathering throughout the ups and downs, you know that we went to massive, almost triple what we're at today, and that we're back to where we are. So I don't think that he has taken that sort of approach, or that the Financial Stability Board, because he's really just the mouthpiece for that entity. I don't think that the Financial Stability Board has really taken a look at it from such a short sight just to say that a down market is no threat. I think what he's looking at it and saying is that, yes, despite the fact that there's an alleged threat, or that there is a claimed threat from the cryptocurrency community, or at least different coins out there, whether it's to circumvent taxation or just basically provide people a way of paying people across borders, getting around tariffs and things like that. Yeah, that would provide a little bit of a ding into different governments' ability to track and control taxation. But it doesn't really seem like something that's organized enough in today's state to be able to completely overthrow any strong government's official fiat offering. And I think that's what they're coming in to say. using my own judgment there. You know, I'm not obviously on that board. I don't have any internal information from there. But being a speculator, if you followed Altcoin Buzz for a while, you've seen many of my videos. Sometimes I like to poke fun at things, but I'm always trying to look at things from a tactical advantage. And that's part of what's helped me as an investor, is just thinking of things less emotionally and certainly a lot more tactically when in the marketplace. And I would have to say that if I was looking at things out there that were giving me weaknesses or threats, that cryptocurrency would definitely be on my radar, as it is to them, and that it would not be something that I would yet be quite concerned about. In fact, if anything, a lot of these centralized banks that are behind these big G20 governments should really be looking at blockchain and implementing that as a solution for anti-counterfeit, anti-money laundering, other things like that, that are going to allow them to better regulate through decentralization or centralization, depending on how they want to set up their custody and witnesses and things like that. So I think that they should really be looking at it as an opportunity of where, once again, it wasn't government leading the way with innovation, it was the private sector. And I think that in this case, the private sector should be showing back to them a way that they could use this to their own advantage. Maybe even a way that they could potentially look at handling inflation, things like that. But there is some speculation too that in being able to create inflation by effortlessly printing more currency does have a utility in and of itself. So like it or love it, sure, there is something to say about non-finite currencies out there. Maybe we'll start to see some more of those pop up and be actually a viable project. And it would be interesting to see how investors would weather that versus the traditional fiat, which obviously would be something that could have almost a guaranteed inflation at that rate. So that's essentially what's going on here in the cryptocurrency market. Comment below what your thoughts are on anything else related to cryptocurrency. If there's anything you want us to check out here on the Altcoin Buzz team, we're always looking for new and exciting projects. If there's anything here going on in the top 10 that you'd like us to cover, drop that in the comments or send us a direct message here on YouTube.